highlights. Dito tayo ngayon sa Aillwee Cave. So papasukin natin tong Aillwee Cave na to. Titingnan natin kung gaano kaganda ang stalactite and stalagmite. So tara na guys, pasok. Yan guys, papasok na tayo. So papasok na tayo guys. Ito na yung papasukan.
Here's that. Go. Watch your heads here.
Okay. A bit lower. Ingat lang.
The bear's hibernating.
Dito na tayo sa loob guys.
Alright, so guys, so how's everyone doing so far? Are we all good? Yeah, brilliant. So the cave was first found back in 1940 by a local farmer named Jack McGann. So Jack was out farming with his sheepdog. When the dog saw a rabbit, he popped on into the cave, and then the dog chased the rabbit, and then Jack chased the dog. Now, Jack didn't actually tell anyone about his find for another 33 years, until a caving group from the UK were over, interested in burrowing caves, and they got chatting in the local pub. An exploration then took place here at Aillwee, and then in 1976 the cave opened as a show cave. Now, in order to prepare for this, they had to lower the ground level in here by about a metre, just clearing away some loose rock and mud. But during that time, they made a few different discoveries. So they found these hibernation pits in here on the right-hand side of this chamber, and then those bones that you see in that first hibernation pit too. So those bones actually come from a European ground bear. Now, the bears went extinct in Ireland around 3,000 years ago, just due to hunting and deforestation. But you can still find that same species of bear in the northern regions of Russia and in Finland today. They just like heavily forested areas. But we had those bones dated back in 2018, and we actually found out that skull in the centre of the pile, that's 10,400 years old. And then the bones surrounding it are 6,400 years old. So it just goes to show that the bears would have been returning to the cave over thousands of years for their hibernation. And the reason why they like it here so much is just the cave stays a very ambient 10 degrees Celsius year round, which I know today feels a bit chilly, but during the winter that does actually make it a bit warmer than the outside temperature, and then this part of the cave will stay relatively dry as well. Nowadays, the only animal we see hibernating in the cave is the lesser horseshoe bat. So he's quite cute, he's around 3 centimeters in size. And when those guys are hibernating, they actually slow their heart rate right down to the point where it only beats once every 30 minutes. And so guys, does anyone have any questions so far? No. No? Alright. So moving all the sediment and sea creatures from that ocean would fall into the sea floor and then be compacted by the weight of the water above them. So because of this, we end up with a lot of fossils throughout the limestone rock. So our most common fossil inside the cave are these little semicircular shaped white marks that you'll see. You'll see these guys all over. They're called brachiopods. They're a type of shellfish. They're kind of similar to mussels that we have today. Other fossils to keep your eyes out for, though we don't have any great examples in here. We've got some spiral-shaped fossils. They're called gastropods. They'd be similar to snails. And then we've got some fossilized corals too. All of those are actually older than the dinosaurs. So do just keep your eyes out on the walls and ceilings as we're walking through, because you will find examples of those. So over time and through tectonic plate activity, Ireland was slowly pushed north of the equator and then eventually up out of the sea. Now once the limestone rock is exposed to rainwater, because rainwater is slightly acidic, it can actually dissolve away the rock. So initially that water would just make its way down through these natural cracks in the limestone, and and then would begin a rolling a route for itself through the rock. So the first part of the cave to form, 1 to 2 million years ago, would have been these wiggly channels just above our heads here. So these are actually called anastomoses, and that's just the result of that rainwater trying to figure out what's the easiest and most direct route through this rock. And eventually it did, and then all that water would come together into one stream and one river, which coursed through here, carving out this tube shape above our heads. So this is actually called our phreatic tube, and you'll notice as we're walking through the cave, we're going to be following this shape the entire way through. So that river was probably quite strong and quite fast, just judging by how smoothed out either side of the walls there are. And then over time, it would have been carving down deeper into the rock, forming a bit of a canyon shape. And then at the end of the last ice age, the river left this kind of cave. So when that happened, the lack of water pressure along the sides of the walls here meant we started having a few cave ins. And then that's how we end up with all these boulders just along here. Now, even though the river has left this part of the cave, there is still some water making its way down. But it's just small droplets that make their way through the cracks of the rock. As they do so, they become calcium carbonate, or calcite, which actually comes from the shells of all those fossilized creatures. And then once that water slows down enough, it will deposit that calcite, and depending on the way we
See down in the cave.
Guys, pasok pa tayo papunta doon. Kunting haba-haba pa pala ng cave na to. Yan guys, may tumutulo ng tubig banda roon. Maririnig na dito.
So, when back in the cave back in 1940, that over is actually entirely gone to bed. And he thought that this was the end of the cave, and he was maybe way back into the amazing ring. Just because overhead was here, it was actually completely blocked up with a boulder coat. So there was just rocks all around the field. But then when those caves were going crazy in 1973, they knew there was more things to discover, just going off the shape of the roof here. Because they knew that the river that carried out that creek wouldn't have just totally ended in a dead end. So they cleared all those rocks away, discovered the rest of the cave, and now those rocks actually make up the supporting end of our bridge here. So while we're looking at this in front of us, so this is called our frozen waterfall. And this is actually our largest calcite formation inside the cave. But the only thing that leads into this is that water overhead. Now this water tends to be super weather dependent. So when we've had a lot of heavy rain, it will blow a lot into the river. Sometimes you can splash people on the way. But it takes around 20 minutes for water to surface of the mountain to reach this point. Afterwards, it falls to that pool down below. Now, no matter how much water is cascading down through here, that pool doesn't actually get any deeper than what you see now. And that's just because there's a system of caves underneath our feet and throughout the mountain that's constantly draining all that water away. And it must be pretty big as well, considering that the water drains so quickly. But we just don't have access to them. We did, however, trace that water to where it goes, so it's pretty simple. We just put some right through diving. We found out that the water reappears again down at the pond by the birds of prey center, the ones the tanks are coming out of. And then from there, it was back on the garden down and out into the ocean somewhere in Volleyball Bay.
Yan, tignan naman tayo guys. Ayan, konting pagkakamalaw. Ontog.
Going down.
Alright, so guys, so how are we doing so far? Has anyone bumped their head?
No.
falls pala sa loob ng cave. Hindi pala under ng cave. Ayan siya guys. Punta naman tayo bandarol. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Bye now.
Bye bye. Thank you. So, tunnel palabas guys. Pero, palabas na tayo. Yun lang yun.
I'll get you a picture.
Haba-haba nga pala itong man-made tunnel nito. Kartong doon sa cave.
It's madulas, no?
Ayan. Nakikita natin sa exit. So, palabas na nga.
Papasok pa. Imagine.
Oo. Ayan, parang form pa lang ito ng kaliliit na cave. May daan pa doon. Yan guys, may nakita na tayong daylight doon sa unahan, kaya palabas na talaga. Ayan guys, nasa labas na tayo. Thanks very much.
You're very welcome.
Yan, ito na yung nasa labas. Kung gusto nyo mag-toilet, ayan, magto-toilet muna. So, yan lang guys. So, thank you very much. See you in my next video. Bye bye.